It is hot.
You're listening to Oilers Nation Radio, a member of the Nation network of podcasts and delivered by DoorDash.
Is that my microphone you turned down?
With Dan, Rick, Tyler, and Bag Milk starts now.
No, it was the producer mic that I'm about to walk away from.
Well, I like to learn the board as you're touching things over there because I want to touch things.
I'm all set.
Yeah.
That nailed it.
Right?
Perfect.
What does that microphone produce, Tyler?
Sound.
This is the producer mic. It's the one at the producer table.
Mm-hmm. There goes Tyler.
I'm all set.
All right.
He does get upset when you do that.
Oilers Nation Radio, episode 190. Bag Milk here. Dan, Rick, Tyler, usual crew. I missed last week. I missed you boys. I didn't even listen to the podcast. I refused to.
We were in Nashville.
I refused to listen. I was jealous.
Fair.
I listened to the first 2 minutes of it and you guys were shitting on me for not being there.
Yep.
And that's where I called it. No more.
Understandable.
I'm too fragile.
So we went from you not listening to it to you heard us.
Just that 1 minute.
That's fair.
Other than that, I'm too fragile. I can't handle it.
Respect.
Thankfully, today I'm back.
I'm all set.
Hey,
Whoever
try hitting a different button.
Whoever watches this video,
Thrilled? I'm not.
whoever watches this video is going to see Bag Milk's arm. I hope that doesn't give away too much.
Admin reveal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his government hand.
Yesterday we were doing real life yesterday and I was sitting where Tyler is and I had my Bag Milk graphic and I was doing little arm dances because I was behind the graphic. It was fun. It was enjoyable.
Inflatable arm flailing tube man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Tyler.
Yep.
Let's start the podcast. Episode 190. What is our oodle noodle delicious debate? What are you writing down over
He's
there?
writing down.
What episode number it was?
190.
Yep. Oilers Nation Radio, episode 190, your delicious debate for today's show. Connor McDavid is currently tied with Jonathan Huberdeau for the lead in points. That means the Art Ross Trophy, if you're unfamiliar. How many points does McDavid have to finish with to win the Art Ross?
How many games for both players?
Let's have a little peeky.
Let's take a look. The Oilers got
77 played for Huberdeau. 76 played for Connor, but Connor missed one, right?
Yeah, so the Oilers have 5 remaining. The Panthers have 5 remaining.
Oh, we got a race on our hands
it's
here.
It's getting hot in here.
So this is what we're looking at. Connor McDavid, 43 goals, 70 assists, 113 points. Huberdeau, more of an assist machine. He's got 30 goals, 83 assists for 113 points. Tyler, I'm starting down at the end of the table with you because this is your question.
Yep.
How many points does Connor need to finish with to wrap up another Art Ross Trophy?
Connor McDavid's points per game is 1.49. Jonathan Huberdeau's is 1.47. So that right there tells you it'll probably take between 7 or 8 points, but it is worth noting that these two guys have been on absolute tears since March 1st. Huberdeau's up to 1.58, and it's actually identical. McDavid is 1.58 as well. So I'm going to say it's a little bit more than that. I think the Art Ross winner this year will finish with 121 points.
So that's what, 8? What's the math?
8 more, yeah. 8 in 5 games.
Rick, what are you thinking?
We did a guess earlier that how many points do we think McDavid's going to finish up with? And I believe my guess was 120. So I'm going to stick to it. And I'm going to say 7 more points and he gets the Art Ross again.
Dan?
The key for me is going to be the strength of schedule. The games that they're likely going to be sitting Huberdeau are the games against the Senators and the Canadiens. The games that he'll still be playing in are against the Lightning, the Leafs, and the Bruins. So to me, I'm going to say McDavid just needs like 5, maybe 6 points to do this. I think that Huberdeau's had his big flourish to catch up to McDavid, and McDavid is just going to continue to be the producer that he is.
I think that this is Connor's, and I think he wants it no matter what he'll say in the media. And if you look at what happened last game against Dallas, Huberdeau was up by 1. Con goes up and puts up 3.
Even with that, 2 seconds left empty netter, if he wasn't in the scoring race, if this was December, he might just fire that puck and just take the clock.
Yeah.
But he was going for the extra point there. He's going for the goal.
Of course. He wanted me to win over 2.5 points.
Understandable.
He's a good man.
I also had that, so I was thrilled.
So I think that with 5 games left, is that what you said, Tyler?
Mm-hmm.
5 games left, he's picking up 10.
Connor's not playing all 5 games, by the way.
No?
No.
I think he will. I think he'll be in the lineup, but whether, say, when we're at the game next Friday against Vancouver, I think Connor's going to be in the lineup, same with Leon, but maybe they take a couple of twirls, but that's about it.
They play power play to get them the points to win the Art Ross and potentially the Rocket.
Yeah, I can see that.
That I can actually see, but I still, yeah. So I still think they're going to try and pull them out for 1.
Either way, I'm saying Connor's getting 10 points over these last 5 games. So that's going to put him up to tonight. 123. 123 is where I'm going to end up.
123.
That'll get the job done. So
job done.
If you are listening to this podcast, which I know you are, Hit us up with your predictions. ON Radio Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Where's Connor going to end up at? Where's he going to end up at? So Isaiah 123. There you go. Right? Good. Do you think anybody here think Huberdeau beats him?
No. It's just tough because Florida's such a wagon. Like, I don't know if people saw this. They set
fucking pump goals in.
They set the record last night for most goals since the cap era began.
Yeah.
And they have 5 games left. And look at their schedule over the last few weeks. They've basically just been pumping home 6 a game. Like, they put home 5 against Detroit. Okay, 3 against the Islanders, but then it was 6 against Detroit, 6 against Winnipeg, 3 against Anaheim, 4 against Nashville, 4 against Buffalo, 7 against the Leafs. Like,
okay, they're playing like shit outside the Leafs. They're playing a bunch of shitty teams there, huh?
And including the Leafs. Huh?
Pew, 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 pew.
Could have hit a button for that one.
What?
Yeah, like they're playing bad teams, but they're beating the crap out of them.
Yeah. Oilers are beating the crap out of
So
the
that's
teams
the concern, right? Like, is that Huberdeau probably has a bit of a better supporting cast out in Florida, record-setting offense.
What?
He could just very well go on a run where he just doesn't stop putting up 2 a game. And that might be tough for McDavid with rest factored in to keep up with. Although they might start resting Huberdeau because
he's definitely pushing to win it for himself too, though. And Florida's doing the exact same thing. We're sitting here saying, you know what, Connor wants it. Guess what? Florida's doing the exact same thing with Huberdeau. They're going to put him in every opportunity to try and get points. He's going to push for it as hard as he can as well.
How about Jonathan Huberdeau making he's a $5.9 million AAV?
What a bargain.
So he's got 1 more year left on that.
Oh, but he's going to cash in. What is Florida's cap situation like just in general? Like, are they tied up
this
on
coming summer? They have $4.5 million in projected cap space, but they have a few guys signed. Like, they got to get a couple cheap D-men done and a few, like, they won't.
Well, they'll have to plan ahead. They'll have to plan ahead. Like, Huberdeau's getting at least double where he's at.
Do you think Huberdeau puts up these points next year? Or is this the one in, like, so Kucherov did it a couple years ago. We've seen it before. Some guys get up there. They do it one time. Everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's the greatest now. He's in the upper echelon talk now. And all of a sudden they don't do it. And I'm not saying he's going to go down to 60 points, but what if he only gets 80 or 90 points next year?
Well, I think that we've kind of talked about it with this Florida Panthers team in general, right? The offense is just there this year, and Huberdeau is a big part of it. And so to me, it's
sure. What is he going to do next year?
I think that the answer is probably no. It's probably not going to be at the same level, right? And so, whereas McDavid, yes, you expect this every year.
Like,
you've seen it.
So like Connor's proven it, you know?
Yes.
The interesting part with Huberdeau, like, he had 61 and 55 last year, 78 and 69 the year before, 92 and an 82 game season for that. So I think it's fair to say that next year Huberdeau could be like a 90 to 95 point guy again. But I don't think he's putting up 120 next year.
Right, because it's the same thing with Kucherov a couple of years ago. He went absolutely off and then not really.
Connor McDavid picked up his 69th assist on 420.
Nice.
What?
Nice.
You're just going back to the same button every time.
He's a hot guy.
There it is.
That's better. Kucherov, though, to be fair, 1.29 points per game. He just hasn't stayed healthy. Fucking LTIR.
Yeah, weird how that worked out for him.
So want a cup.
Yeah.
You want a couple?
Not as many as Patty Maroon.
No, Pat Maroon is a unit.
What a debate we just had. That was really debateful.
Hardly a debate. It was more us just agreeing with each other that Connor rules.
I think there's a chance Huberdeau gets it, though.
What's the chance? Put a percentage on it.
40%
17.
chance.
17.
Are you just being a contrarian?
40% chance he gets it. There's 5 games left.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I wouldn't bet against McDavid. That's why I'm still saying, even though they're tied, McDavid has a 60% chance, but 40% for Huberdeau.
I think that's fair, especially with the way that Florida fills the net.
Yeah.
If he's playing, he's going to get points. You know?
Yeah.
What's their schedule like, though? Should we start diving into that?
Toronto, and then they've got Tampa, Boston, and then they're playing some weaker teams in Ottawa and Montreal.
How do you have their schedule?
Because I just looked at it before when I was talking.
Didn't you just say it, though?
Listening to me, it's okay.
I was going back. I was looking at their previous games.
Well, I thought we already said who they're about to play.
Because I think that the Leafs just got pumped by the Lightning, so they're not likely to let in a lot of goals in that game. Yeah. Right? Then you got the Bruins and the Bolts, which are good teams. So
the interesting part is, like, they go Ottawa, Montreal to end the season. Edmonton goes San Jose, and then a Canucks team that could be out of it by then. Who blinks first? Like, I think both start times are the same on each night. So if you're the Oilers, do you sit there and it's like, yeah, both start times are the same. If you're the Oilers and you sit there and you see like Huberdeau's not taking warm-ups, do you sit there and be like, Connor, we know you want it, big man, but no way you're not playing tonight. We're saving you.
If he's up on points, maybe.
I bet you the Oilers play it and they like Woodcroft has his plan and he's going with it. And whatever that is, that's it.
I think Woody's got a plan, and I think Connor's in the lineup for the last 5 games, no matter what. Just how much he plays, like what is his TOI? That's
what did he do last year?
He was in all the way through.
Yeah. He didn't take one off.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he misses San Jose and Vancouver.
Both. You can't sit him for both because I think you're getting into the rust category.
That's almost the 7 days off. Then I think
he's in. He's going to take some twirls, like Tyler said. He's on the power play. Maybe get a couple of shifts every here.
So last year they played on their last 2 games were against Montreal and Vancouver. Oilers had locked everything up. McDavid had 15 shifts for 16 minutes against Vancouver, 16 shifts for 15 minutes against Montreal.
That's exactly what I'm expecting. I wouldn't even be surprised if he gets brought down lower than that.
Yeah, I was going to say those are numbers closer to what he's doing right now, just with Woodcroft here.
Woody likes to spread him around.
Yeah.
You know?
For comparison, the least amount Connor McDavid's played this year is actually 15-25 in a game against Anaheim, where he still had 3 points.
Oh, I was expecting the game where he got his chiclets knocked out there in Carolina. I thought that was going to be the one you were saying.
No, he actually still played a lot that game. Where is that one?
Basically played the entire last 2 periods is what you're telling me then.
More or less.
Pretty
He
much.
still played over 21 minutes.
All right.
He's angry.
I want to know from you.
Did you guys see? I don't know if they showed this on TV, but in the last game, McDavid was going to the bench and Darnell Nurse went to turn and Nurse clipped him with a high stick right in the mouth again.
Oh, no.
And McDavid was, not that he was like pissed at Nurse, but you could tell he was not enjoying what just happened. And he was like doubled over on the bench, and then the trainer came over and McDavid kind of waved him off.
Nobody wants to stick to the mouth ever.
No, even if it's your friend
Especially
doing
when it's your 3rd one, 4th.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Doesn't
That
get
poor
easier.
mouth.
Sideshow Bob getting hit in the face with a bunch of rakes.
That's really what it is.
It's just kind of tough.
We should have like Kennedy or Waz make a gif of McDavid's face on.
I would also like the sound effects though, where he's just like, thump. I like it. All right. If you're listening to this, I want to know where you think Connor's going to finish at. Are you coming in more bullish than I am? 123 to finish it up. I want to know. ON Radio Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Send us on the old social media machines. Got it? Good. Shout out to our friends at Oodle Noodle. New location out in Fort Saskatchewan. Always available as well on DoorDash. It's Friday. You don't want to work. You've already worked enough this week. Come on. Relax. Put your feet up.
Ding dong.
Big Oilers game tonight. It's
Playoff time.
Playoff time. You got to get ready. Got to get prepared. You got to feel it.
That means drinking. No time to cook.
I was thinking about it. So I have not really all that much partied for the last 2 years based on world circumstances. I don't know if you guys know this.
Calgary.
Well, so there was some sprinkles.
Jasper.
But so what I'm getting to is I'm out of rhythm with like consistent partying. I've had bursts. Jasper, Pond Hockey Tournament, we got after it. Calgary, got after it arguably a little too early.
You're talking about you don't have your pacing down yet.
Well, see, I was pacing at the same pace pre-pandemic, which, when you haven't partied a whole lot through that time, well, all of a sudden you end up at the finish line faster than
What
you
I want to
anticipated.
hear is what you're going to do to make sure you're ready for Monday, May 2nd or Tuesday, May 3rd.
I'm going to spend all of next weekend in a haze.
Like I was a little bit surprised to walk in today and see you at the table out there and not have like a bottle of tequila around your foot somewhere. Maybe, actually I did not look into your cup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping it's not 0.00 right now.
Yeah, that's just a coffee.
Here's the key. It's a lot of steam. You got to sit in that bathroom, turn the hot water on, start smashing them red wines and keep yourself hydrated.
It's my favorite picture from Jasper. It's a bagged milk with a cone on his head and it says more like cone milk.
I was having #fun.
That's fine.
I just felt like I needed a cone to make sure that people were listening to what I had to say.
Yep.
But we need you ready for May 2nd.
Well, I'll be ready. Like what happens? I'm just thinking out loud here.
And don't forget, you may have to have a radio call in at say, half an hour after the game's over too. So you need to be ready for that as well.
Yeah. So if you don't know what Rick's talking about, when the Oilers knocked out the San Jose Sharks in 2017, my boy Reed Wilkins, friend of everybody, he texts me and he's like, "Hey, scale of 1 to 10, how you doing right now?" And I'm like, "I'm a 12, my man. I'm feeling great." He's like, "Can you come on the radio right now without swearing?" And I said, "Buddy, I got this.
Oh boy.
No problem." So I went out back behind the pint
Yeah.
and I did my hit.
Yeah.
Horns honking. I thought I did great. Listened to it back the next day. Well, a little sloppy.
Did you swear?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's all that matters.
Kept her tight. Just a little bit, a little slurry. But you know what? We were having a good time. Hashtag fun. Tyler?
You buying a house?
Pardon?
You buying a house?
Oh, don't look at my computer right now. Yes.
Tyler buying a house over there?
I have alerts up. Housing market, very competitive.
It's a nice place.
So I have like one of those automatic searches from my real estate agent where as soon as a house is listed, I get an email being like, look at this fucking house. And so I just had to text her and be like, I would like to go see this home. It's pretty nice.
It's very nice.
As you breaking news here on the podcast, wah, wah, Tyler looking to grow up a little bit, buy himself a new home.
Very
Dan, you
much
just
so.
bought a new home.
I did.
Tips for Tyler?
Well, bad news is, as Tyler mentioned, the housing market is quite strong here right now. I've gone well over asking price a couple times and came in fourth and fifth. So
insane.
So it's
Terrible.
tough. The trick for us was to put in an offer right at asking and put a deadline on it. Force them to make.
You've got 12 minutes.
I gave them until 5 p.m. that night.
Start
to
a
respond.
timer.
Yeah.
Go.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
Anyways, not that I like being a distraction during the show, but this popped up and I felt like I needed to look at it right away.
House.
Very nice place. You never know how fast it's going to go.
Only one bathroom though. Can't do that.
Yeah, you take big shits. You can't have that, you know?
Could I add one though? That's interesting.
Yeah. Amber, don't go in there for 12 to 15 minutes.
Tyler tries installing a new toilet.
Oh,
Hey, no, I did that one summer. I was okay at it.
Okay. Good for you. I'm proud of you.
Well
buddy.
done.
Proud of you. Home ownership is a big step for you in your life.
Big responsibility.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact I'm doing this right around an Oilers playoff run when my wallet's going to be hurting. Okay.
Well, I'm just thinking about, since Rick asked the question, prepping for playoffs, like I'm just thinking about out loud here. Imagine a scenario where maybe we got down to wherever the Oilers are playing in the first round, like a little impromptu nation vacation. I don't know if it's possible. It's very tight.
Probably pack some shorts. It's probably be pretty nice down there.
Yeah, no matter where you're going.
Yeah.
Might be a vacation vibe.
It might be a vacation vibe. Might be a good time. Would my body be ready for such an event? I don't know.
Yes, because your brain would not allow it to have an answer. Your brain would just say, we're going, and your body would just have to let go.
Well, I think you made a
I
good
know
point.
you very well.
Well, yeah, I was going to say on the point you made on the bus, I should say you made an interesting point where you said my superpower is that I get up to 8.5, but then I just
No, you
maintain.
can do that for like 12 hours. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't do that. I get up to 11 and then it's bedtime.
Sort of. He did a very good job in Nashville is what I'm trying to say.
You didn't go to bed early?
I went to bed pre.
No, his going to bed early was he had to be up at 7. I think he left like 12 or like 1.
Oh, that's all right.
One.
You got responsibilities. You got a house to pay for.
I forget what we were doing that night, but I'm sure we were having some fun.
We
Yeah,
always
probably.
had fun there. Nation vacations are a good time. And if it was whatever, a Vancouver, Vegas, or LA, no matter what, we'd have a blast.
Well, let's talk about which we'd prefer. Nobody wants to go to Vancouver. Sorry, quads. Right?
Not the
Weird.
worst.
That's no fun. Dan, thoughts?
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm not going to Vancouver.
Nah.
I don't think Vegas is going to have any playoffs to go to watch. So
Well, what happened today?
Well, okay, so let's go through this. Earlier today, Jesse Granger from The Athletic reports that Robin Lehner is going to undergo season-ending knee surgery. And about 20 minutes ago, Pete DeBoer took to the podium and said, quote, "It was a maintenance day today. I expect him at practice tomorrow. I expect him dressed on Sunday," says the reports are inaccurate.
Dressed in what?
What the hell is going on?
What is going on with this dude? Because Frank Cervalli earlier in the season was reporting an injury. He doesn't do that unless he knows something. And then he's out with season-ending injury, and then the coach says, "Nah, he's good." What is going on?
It's wild. I made this comment today on one of my radio hits. I said, I'm really interested to see what Pete DeBoer does with all his spare time next year, because he's not going to be coaching the Vegas Golden Knights. And just the way this has gone with them likely missing the playoffs, but even if they squeak in and get smoked by Colorado in round 1 or something, the drama DeBoer has brought and everything that's gone on this year, I don't see how he could be back. Just in the last 2 weeks.
Well, his coming into the team initially was drama-filled, replacing
Gallant.
Yeah. And then you go to this
Dan's
year,
cousin.
and it's just the thing with Lehner where you start him, pull him after he gives up 1 goal in the first period. There was the game against New Jersey where they lose 3-2. Lehner gives up a couple that maybe weren't great, but it was a 3-2 game against an awful New Jersey team that can't keep pucks out of their own net. You only scored twice. And DeBoer's reaction is to sit in front of the media and be like, our goalies weren't as good tonight. What? And then you do the thing against Washington, and now there's this going on where you are. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I think the moral here, the takeaway is I'm glad Vegas is having a bad time.
Me too. Although someone pointed out on Twitter, is this bad for the NHL?
Why?
How?
Vegas is a team that consistently goes for it and makes big transactions and big swings.
Consistently. They've done it for like 4 years. They've been here for 4 years.
I know, but they've done it through 4 years. They've been the team that goes out and gets every star they want. So if the lesson learned, and the NHL is a copycat league, if the lesson learned is, oh man, if you take those big swings, you could fall flat on your face and everyone gets conservative, is that boring? I don't know. That's just a point. I'm just saying.
Vegas looks at missing the playoffs this year and they say, we need to be even more aggressive next year to get
fire
back
the
in.
coach, fire the
Perfect, because
GM.
we all know that's a great thing to do.
I think that Vegas is showing the opposite of the Steve Tambellini do nothing strategy, right? They've done too much. They've meddled too much. And there's often that question asked of a lot of teams that are actively and highly active, like Vegas has been, of, are you doing too much to mess with your chemistry? And to me, that's a team that, why did that team get away from what they had done in year one and created so much success with it, with little to no transactions?
What are you referring to though?
The team that they created through the expansion draft.
Well, for the first year though, you could sit there and go, well, none of you guys were wanted. All your team gave up on you. Like, come together. Let's do this.
Said.
And you know what? They did not consider themselves a playoff contender. And then they went on an Eastern road trip, won a bunch. And then all the vets sat down and said, oh shit, maybe we are. And then they got involved in it. And then James Neal leaves at the end of the season. Like you really can't just redo that again. It was just a perfect timing.
But set it and forget it instead of continuing to tweak and adapt. And like Gallant's firing was in the middle of a season where they were being successful. And you're going after a guy out of San Jose who was a coach of your rival. It was weird.
And then like even the way Leonard ended up there, right? Where it's like Fleury's fine. Oh, but no, you got to go get the big thing. You got to get Leonard. Then you got to sign him too, because you don't want Leonard to. And it's funny how they went from, you talked about that first year, the golden misfits, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone wasn't wanted and they really built themselves up. They really built themselves up on the, we're a room full of guys where our teams didn't love us. And then what did the organization do? They didn't love them. They traded every depth piece and every prospect they have for star players. And it's like, you took your initial approach that worked and you just flipped it on your head.
Yeah.
So sometimes the slower process is the right one.
Well, sometimes a 15-year rebuild is the way to go.
And now we look
I'm
at
not saying
Seattle.
15, but maybe like 3 year. Seattle,
Now you look at Seattle, and that's a team that's nobody looks at that team and says, that's a cup contender in 5 years.
But as soon as Ron Francis got there, everyone's like, yep, this is a great thing. Blah, 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 blah. And they're pumping their tires for no particular reason.
So basically, the next team that comes in, Quebec, congratulations. You've just been given an expansion franchise as the 33rd franchise in the NHL. You should do the middle. Just find what Vegas did, don't do as much of it, and find what Seattle did and do more.
So can we not say that Holland might be doing something right here by not over meddling?
No, Rick.
Why?
I'm messing with you.
Well, let's talk about something that Ken Holland did. He made a big gamble last offseason. We've talked about it at length over the course of the year. Mr. Mike Smith, 40 years old, in his last 10 starts, he is 9-0-1 with a 1.7 GAA and a 948 save percentage with 2 shutouts.
Love it.
How about the old boy?
I love it.
Here's the thing. And I talked about this yesterday on my podcast too. It's like Mike Smith is, do you think, I'm going to tangent for a second. Do you think he's a little bit unlikable?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Like if this was Mikko going on the run that he's on right now, I would have a Koskinen.
That's what I mean. And that's what I mean. But like right now, there's a lot of people being like, they're waiting for the fallback to say, I told you I was right.
I told you so. Yeah.
He lives by the sword and he dies by the sword.
He takes the Mike Smith against the world, fuck the haters approach.
Yep.
Whereas Mikko takes more of a, I'm just going to play good and shut you up. And I tend to gravitate towards one of those personalities more than the other, I think is where I go with it.
So where I'm confused
I'm really curious as to which one you go towards.
Mikko. I like that.
Yeah, but you can't tell me you're not the guy if someone's like, if everyone's pointing the finger against you, that like drives you more to do something.
And maybe that's why I'm more drawn to Mikko because he's not like me. I would be an asshole like
yes. But you know what? I think it comes down to kind of like their nationality. I think that just the Finnish way is a little more quiet in front of the lights and stuff. I think behind the scenes, you might see a bit of a different attitude. I just don't think a lot of people like Mike Smith's personality. I think I love it. I think it's perfect for sports.
I just think that Bag Milk, I think you said it well. And for me, it's when Mike Smith's anger is directed towards like, that the battling and fighting the other team, it's great. But when I see him turn on his defenseman, and
don't know what was said though. All we see is like glances or stares or something. We don't know exactly what gets.
Of course,
what's
but that's all we see. So that's all we have to base our opinions off.
So that's where I'm basing my opinion off, and that's where I think that a lot of people turn on him is because in their opinion and in their vision, he turns on his teammates right away.
Of course, all allegedly in our opinions.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I was going with it too. Is I just think Mikko is maybe more likable in that sense.
The thing I just find interesting is that I will fully admit I've shit on Mike Smith countless times on this podcast, real life, my podcast.
I wanted him on waivers 5 weeks ago.
But the counter is when he's playing like he is right now. Again, 9-0-1 his last 10, 1.7 GAA, 948 save percentage with 2 shutouts. You got to give the guy some love for what he's doing.
Yep.
We can increase the sample size to the last 2 seasons as well, right? And then you had to put the just when he's healthy.
Well, that's the thing. So the only concern I have with Mike Smith right now, he's on top of his game, is his old ass body.
But and I say this every time. I don't believe his 2 big injuries this year have been old man injuries. I think old man injuries are kind of like when I was getting out of the vehicle a couple years ago, and I moved my left leg out, and I had like the worst groin injury I've ever had before. Mm-hmm. That's not what it was. He got crushed into. I think the recovery time can be an old man type of thing.
The one he like popped his thumb out for no reason. So that one was a bit of probably doesn't happen to like a 25-year-old goalie.
You think so? I honestly, it might have just hit you in the wrong spot. It hits you in the wrong spot.
Is that a Dr. Uremchuk lock in there?
And we need a doctor in here.
Mm-mm. But like health wise, consistency, that's a part of consistency. And that's what you need from your goaltender is consistently being able to trust them. And I just am not there right now.
He's at a 913 all season. How's that a bad thing?
Can I actually give this number as well? Just to go along with that before you finish one. In the last 2 years, since the beginning of the shortened season, goalies who have played at least 40 games, and there's a lot of them, Mike Smith ranks 8th in save percentage at 918. He's better than Fleury, who has a Vezina, Thatcher Demko, Tristan Jarry, Jack Campbell, and Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah, and that's perfect, and that's what you want. But what happens when Mike Smith falters in the playoffs?
How do you know he's going to falter? He didn't falter last year
because he's had falters every time, just like every goalie does, right?
So, but no one's sitting there going, "What happens if Markstrom goes back and playing like last year in Calgary?" No one's saying that.
They should be.
Why?
But because that's part of their team identity is relying on Markstrom to.
Yeah. So you say this is what he is right now. Why would you go back and look what happened last year?
Because that's how you learn for the next time, right? And
why can't we do that with Ken Holland then?
Because he didn't learn from the next time, and he went back to the exact same tandem that we've had for the last 2 years,
and it's worked so far. You have to look at what options he had.
Any success in the playoffs.
To be fair, goaltending hasn't been the issue, and really wasn't against Chicago outside of game 1. Wasn't the biggest issue.
Time ago,
the Oilers couldn't score.
Yeah.
Last year we couldn't score. I know it was a sweep, but it was 4 1-goal games. I know the one game wasn't
3
one goal, whatever.
Yeah.
To me, that's not on goaltending. If we can get this type of goaltending going to the playoffs, and I've said it before, and I've said it in front of other people, I think we're going to the Western Finals this year at the very least.
Here's the thing: is if the Oilers, especially the way Woodcroft has them playing right now, if they can just get average goaltending, they're going to be fine.
Would you rather have the Oilers tandem or Calgary's tandem?
Calgary.
What happens if you get one injury though?
Vladar's been good.
Yeah, he's really good.
You'd put Vladar in before you put Mikko or Smith?
It's different.
How would you rank them? Would you not rank them? Markstrom 1, Smith, Mikko, whatever way, 2, 3, and Vladar 4?
Right now, I think I might go Mikko 4 on that list.
But the gap between
I understand that. I get that. What I'm referring to is just like, who would you rather have? Which backup would you rather have? I think we'd rather have Edmonton's.
I don't know enough to say I don't know enough to say about Vladar myself, but my thing, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's one of those things with Markstrom is you're counting on that guy to be the starter. With Smith, it's when and if he falters.
Well, why do we have to say when and if? Why do we have to look at it that way?
When I think of when and if, it's just his body. He just hasn't proven that he can be healthy consistently.
Other than the 2 weird ones, like he was fine last year, was he not?
He missed a big chunk at the start of last year.
And he was banged up in December too.
So that's all it is for me right now with Mike Smith, the way he's playing, if he's healthy,
and he is,
he'll be fine.
Yeah. So I there's just too many people I think that want to bring that cloud of gray with them instead of enjoying the playoffs. Like,
Well, and
we
that's-
didn't do that in 06. We didn't do that in 97, 98.
Because there was no expectation.
There's no Twitter.
Well,
no, that was also
no, there's
bad.
no Twitter.
Yeah.
Oilers
Like,
Twitter
could you
would
imagine
never-
if there was Twitter and Marc-Andre Bergeron would have not had a good time?
But in 06, we backed into the playoffs. And
Oh, I don't know. We backed into the playoffs. We
we
got into
were the 15th seed out of 16 teams.
Okay,
Didn't they
but we
clinch
didn't
on
fall
the
backwards.
second last day.
Second last game against Vancouver, I believe it was.
And we had less
got
points
there.
than-
We got there at the last two spots, fair, but we didn't
Perspective,
back
I
in.
suppose. Yeah.
But that's just
Snuck in.
but
Snuck in.
that's so that to me is like the expectations are different. Right now we have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on this team.
And they're both good.
And
And Woodcroft.
So to me, you are absolutely correct in wanting us to
He's
be
a
in the
hot
Western
guy.
Conference Finals, but I don't know if we have the horses to get there yet, and that's
This team's
frustrating.
way better than 06. Which team do you want to have? This one or 06?
Okay.
Who do you want to have? This team or 06?
The only it's
Which team which team would you rather have? Today's team or 06?
I'd rather have
today's.
06's defense.
No, you can't split it up. You have to pick
it's
the whole
06.
roster.
I'd still go 06's team because of the stars on the team.
What stars outside of Pronger?
Pronger and Dwayne Rollison.
Dwayne Rollison wasn't a star. He had a hot
Was
time.
the star of that playoff run.
He was hot for sure.
Yeah.
But there's going into it, no one said, "Oh my God, this is the greatest goalie in the league."
No,
He was a backup.
but with that defense,
And they didn't have Woodcroft.
Hey, Kevin Lowe. I still take this year's team. I think that
it's hard not to because you have Connor and Leon.
Smith and Rowley are whatever. They're equal. Okay, let's call them equal.
How dare you slag Horkov like this?
But you got Connor, you've got Leon, you got Kane. Like you've got it
You're telling me you take Connor McDavid over Sean Horkoff
every day of the week.
Wow. Are you kidding me? And Leon Draisaitl over Jarrett Stoll?
I'm telling you, man, this roster,
Adam Oates was
I would
on
take
that team.
this roster
No, he wasn't.
today. I'd take this roster today over 2017's roster.
Okay, that's not even that's a no-brainer to me.
That one,
In the right way or the bad way?
That's it. Yeah, I would agree with you on that, but I still don't. I'm not with you on 06.
How? This team's going to walk in as the second in the division where we just barely got in 06.
I miss Cam Talbot now. I'm thinking about it.
Going in, if you get rid of hindsight, if you just like 2 days before the playoffs start in 06 and 2 days before the playoffs start now,
I'll tell you right now. I remember the conversation. I was working at CBC Radio in security, and
Halifax?
the janitor in Halifax,
You're in Halifax, yeah.
asked me what I thought, and I said, "You know what? I think this team has the ability to play against anybody, and they're going to the Cup Finals." I said
who
it.
can we play against this year?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, you can say the exact same words.
So if we line up against LA, we win that series.
Sure.
I think. And then we're probably playing Calgary, and that's a tough series.
Fair enough. We're 2-2. We're 2-2 in this in the regular season.
Yep.
I think we have the better defensive core. They definitely have us on goaltending, and I think the forwards might actually be kind of a little more down the middle.
I'm gonna disagree on the defense because their defense is a part of their offense, and it's
Their
a part
defense
of
has
their
always been
team.
pumped up over the years, but I don't think like they don't have Gio. Who are their six defensemen?
It's
Kevin.
Hannafin. Kevin. Yes, Kevin, of course. Everybody forgot him.
Reagan accounting.
Yep.
I'm actually trying to think.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Is that Calgary's big on.
Tanev.
Yeah.
They got Shillington's playing meaningful minutes for them.
Clarence
They've got
gets in every now and then.
Stone's been good for them
Who's
this
their
year,
third scorer?
weirdly, although he's in and out. Yusuf Alamaki, if he gets in. Yeah, okay, they got four guys. We're missing someone, obviously.
That's
thinking
what I'm
of,
saying. But that's what I'm saying. So Calgary's
Dougie Hamilton.
Calgary's been
Billy
so
and,
big defensively.
Clarence
from
slides
a
in
couple
there.
years ago.
Yeah,
when
I
they
agree
had
with
Brody,
that.
when they had Gio,
They have a remnants of their identity.
that is sticking with them.
Yes.
But
Zadorov.
Yeah, Tucker.
outside of the guy who works 24/7 hockey, we
I
can't.
got a couple.
And it's fair,
Okay.
but you can't sit there and name
I
all
need
of
to use
them.
the internet.
You can't sit there and name all of them. I'm just saying. I don't think.
Okay,
Calgary's-
name all of our defense.
Tucker.
There you go. Exactly.
I like our 11-7. I think our 11-7 puts us up there with some of the.
Are
Gets
we
rid of
doing
some of the
that in the
defense.
playoffs though?
I think they will. I think
Why hasn't Woody gone back to it since then?
he has been.
Has been the last two games.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Today might be
These all
different
been
because
moving
Bully
on.
Arby's. I think today might be different, but I think going in game one, I think we're going to go 11-7.
I like 11-7. It spreads out the defensive minutes a lot.
It makes our deep better because they don't have to eat so much.
sorry. As a guy that obviously missed a bit here, who was the seventh defenseman?
Russell, you
Yeah.
saw him lay
So
out a
he-
body. You saw him lay out
So
you
who's-
saw him murder a guy in Nashville.
He killed a man.
Who
Yeah.
am I missing?
killed a
then
man.
from the.
That's why he can't come back
Who's
over.
the other extra
legal
guy?
issues.
For us,
Yeah, because Russell's not an extra.
Russell's seven.
Barry,
It's Hugo.
Kulak.
Barry Kulak.
Okay. Got it.
CC Nurse.
I'm putting it together now.
Okay,
Sorry. Yes.
there you
Yeah,
go.
we got it. Okay.
Our 11-7 allows our defense to be just as good as the
It
top
allows our
third,
guys
the
to be
top third,
fresher, for sure.
in the top third in the league.
It's almost like a little dose of insurance, just like you get from our friends at Cornerstone Insurance. For 90 years and 4 generations, Cornerstone Insurance has been a family and employee-owned business here in Edmonton with all of the insurance products you need, auto, residential, commercial, life insurance, whatever you need, they got it for you. CornerstoneINS.ca is where you need to be. And on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a little button that says Citizens of the Nation. Click on that. Get yourself a discount. How do you like that? Rolled right into it.
Love it.
Love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Are we getting to ask the idiots now?
I want to ask you guys a question before we do.
He's got a schedule to keep today.
I actually do, yes.
We've got, as far as the schedule goes, I see 33 minutes
do I.
that I'm allowed to kill.
Okay.
What happens
32,
after
Tyler
this?
says.
What's the
32,
problem?
yeah. 32.
What's the
We're
problem?
going live at 2:00 with the Short 4 Giant pregame show.
People would love to see it go live and see this get torn down while the pregame show get built
We're
up.
packing up.
A lot of work to make the studio,
Yeah, the
We
anticipation.
got to leave the damn arena. That's
I like
that. We got to leave the arena. That's for sure.
Rick, I tweeted out your quote.
Yeah, I saw that.
Electronic Jordan. Technically, we only need them to be one game better than 06.
1,000%, man.
Electronic Jordan nailed it.
2 goals actually.
Great quote.
The question I want to ask you before we get to Ask the Idiots is, when do we start talking about an extension for Dad? Because he just hit 40 points against the Stars on Wednesday.
Mhm.
And
Is this year 2 of his RFA? Of his ELC, sorry?
I'll look that up as well. But I'm just thinking about it. Like, at what point do you start thinking about it? Because if you bridge him like you did with Daryl, that's going to be mighty expensive.
Daryl was 2 bridges.
Fair. I'm just asking the question.
You may have, I think there's almost too much going on this summer where I don't think you can get Evan that big one this year. Because you got to, right off the hop, you got Pugliarvi, you got Yamamoto, you got McLeod, you've got Kane and Bouchard, right?
So Bush has 1 year left.
So Bouchard's almost 5th on the list because he has one more season to go.
Yeah.
You almost have to get the other 4 taken care of, yay or nay, before you can get to the Bouchard part. So I think Bouchard is done next year. Just because you have a couple guys ahead of him.
I'd be tempted this summer to try and see if you can't get a long-term extension in for 2023-24 and just kind of lock it in.
I agree. And maybe you can try and juggle 5 balls at once and figure it out that way.
It's just one of those ones. If you get Bouchard locked in at a reasonable deal following his ELC, then all of a sudden,
Clef-bomb contract?
Clef bomb him. Hey, all of a sudden you could have a bargain by the time he's 26, 27, 28 years old, even though he is 45 right now.
What are the comparisons for this deal, though, right?
Chris Pronger.
Oh, man.
It's tough, man. He's in the upper echelon of defensemen his age. I know he's not a rookie, but whatever. 5-on-5 points.
It's like
That puts him in a certain element. You really don't know what you're dealing with. But yeah, I agree with you, Bagmel. You have to try and get it done as soon as possible. I just think you need those 4 forwards to figure it out first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking.
And almost and almost your goaltending.
Well, you have to figure out the goaltending because Mikko's gone. So you got.
I can still
do Stu and Smith next year. That's a cheap goaltending tandem.
And I think that's what they do to start the season. Roll it, see how it goes, and otherwise you try and make something mid-season.
We'll see. Ultimately, a guy like Cassian's got to go.
Holland's got a tough summer ahead of him.
Holland does not have a good summer or an easy summer.
No, last year was tough. This is tough too.
Duncan Keith has had a really great career, you guys.
I've said it I still think he retires. But hey, listen, win the cup this year.
Yes.
Smith retires.
Send him into the
Duncan
sunset.
Keith
go out
retires.
on
Come on now.
Yes.
Just win the cup and make Holland's job easier.
He's out in the Okanagan sipping a little sangria on a Sunday. It's delicious.
Would you go 8x5 for Bouchard
Yes.
Yes,
this summer? You think you could
Yeah.
do it?
I would if
I don't know if you can do it, but if that's an option, fuck yeah.
I need my capologist.
Because that would be along the lines of what Parayko signed, a little bit less than that. It would be along the lines of the big deal.
Parayko, that wasn't right out of his ELC either, was? Or was it his second contract?
Seth Jones out of his ELC got 5.4 on a long-term deal.
I just think if you have that as an option, you lock it in and then you try and figure it out around it.
Shea Theodore went 5.2 out of his ELC.
Because if this kid's putting up 40 points right now, barely any power play time, come on.
Yeah. So if you can get it done, I think you do it. But it's just, so let me ask you this. Let's say you're getting to that point in the offseason. Ken Holland thinks he knows a general plan, but he can't move Zach Cassian. Do you buy out Zach Kassian if it means you have the money to sign Bouchard to a long-term deal, or then do you go bridge and keep Kassian and let the deal expire?
That buyout goes over 4 years though, right?
It would be, yeah. So his cap hit is
hold on.
3.2 for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It would go down to $6 million or $600K next year. It would go down to 1.8 the next year.
What are you saving? Sorry, it's 2.6.
Sorry, you're saving 2.5 then 1.3. And then it's 2 years of 966 against the cap. But in that last year, it's supposed to be the year the cap goes up.
So what do we got for dead money right now? Sexy Reg come off yet?
No, Sexy Reg does not come off yet. The Oilers.
We're not still paying for fucking Pouliot though, are we?
No, Pouliot's off.
Came off.
Oh, thank God.
Next season, the dead money is 1.5 on Sekera, 1.9 on Neil, 750K on Luch.
Damn it. Fuck. But like, that's what I mean.
4.1 mil.
You can't just add Kassian in there. You have to, I would rather try and retain 50 and
Yeah, I think you
Get
got to try
him
and
out.
retain to trade him.
If you could retain,
just
Bite it in 1
tighten
year.
that up.
Bite it in 1 year.
retain 1. Maybe someone takes him for 2.2.
Yeah,
for
you
free.
want him.
That's what we're
You
talking.
know, we just need him to have an impressive playoff run here. Maybe?
Yeah.
Dare to dream?
I think from what we understand, there's a market out there anyway. So I think the trade is doable.
Know what else is doable, Dan? Heading over to our friends at Buster's Pizza and getting yourself something to eat.
Very doable.
Whether it's a pizza, whether you want a donair, they've got it for you. I'm just looking at their website right now, busterspizza.ca. Triple threat deal.
Lasagna?
3 large pizzas. Come on. You get a lasagna if you want. I see it right there. Pasta.
I like it.
Nice little side of garlic bread. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious. Everybody's having a good time with that. busterspizza.ca. Find a location near you because I promise there is one. Ask the idiots. If you don't know how this bit works, where have you been? We've been doing this for a while now. I'm not explaining the rules anymore. Now, Tyler, I'm starting with you. Question
Okay.
1.
Yep.
Do you remember the rules, Tyler?
This is a little bit of a winding road, this one. Bear with me. I've got a little bit of trepidation heading into the playoffs. Last year, the Oilers seemed to be riding high going in, but then as soon as the puck dropped, we saw what looked like a different team. They struggled to score. Everyone said we would roll over Winnipeg, and all we did was roll over. What do you think makes this year different? Give me something more than a little bit of Kool-Aid.
I think the Oilers' scoring depth this season is better than it has been in years past. And I outlined this on an article I did for the site a couple of days ago. Outside of McDavid and Draisaitl, the Oilers have 9 other skaters who I counted. They've played 500 minutes this year at 5-on-5. The points per 60s at 5-on-5 range from 1.3 to 2.01, Hyman being the high mark of that. So it's Hyman to Kassian is 1.3 to 2.1. Last season, again, minimum 350 minutes because it was a shortened season at 5-on-5. That range was 0.85 Archibald. So half a point per 60 less to the top 1.67. Who wants to take a stab at who that was? No way any of you guys are just guessing Jujar Kara.
I knew it.
And this year, if you even just go from when Woodcroft took over, the range is 1.06. So Kassian's a little lower, but all the way up to 2.64 in a guy like Derek Ryan. So the Oilers' scoring depth is much better than it was last season. And that is the main reason why I think they have a better shot at going deep this year. Is that a horse noise?
The process of that was incredible.
Thank you.
That's good.
Dad was having a little chuckle.
I was.
As he's watching me put that together.
What is
I saw it was
happening?
coming. I saw it was coming.
Nation Dan, give us what makes this year different other than a little Kool-Aid?
Well, the crowd for me is going to be the big thing. We're back
That's an
in the
interesting
building.
angle.
We are back in the building, and the building is going to be at capacity. And Edmonton is undefeated. This is a true fact. Undefeated at making noise in the playoffs. Did you know that?
Nobody
Yeah.
can beat
We've
us.
never not made noise.
They've never not made noise. And so I really believe that the lessons that have been taken away from these last 2 bubble playoff runs are going to come to fruition, and we're going to be there to keep them honest. Right, Rick?
Yes.
Rick, all killer, no filler. What's different this year?
They're both
Leave the
right.
Kool-Aid alone.
They're both right. I think obviously Tyler broke down how the scoring is just much more deep. And then Dan, you were right. If you look back in 06, I believe they would probably tell you the fans won a game and a half, maybe 2.
Well, it's
That type
the
of thing.
war of the fans. Wins above replacement. Worth 1.5, 2 wins. I like it.
All I
think
know
so.
is that when you're in a building in Edmonton in the playoffs, you can't fucking hear yourself. And
No.
that's going to make a difference.
That's
It
not
makes a
even
huge
just
difference.
the rink either. That's some establishments around the city. You
This is
can't hear
very
yourself.
true.
This
Very
city
true.
is excellent. I'm surprised, actually. I haven't seen more car flags out yet.
I always say you got to wait till you clinch.
Yeah, that's the rule.
You earned that car flag, damn it.
When are you guys putting the razors away?
This baby face of mine.
I've never taken one out personally.
But I was actually curious.
When
about
are
that
we
too,
going on the
yeah.
playoff beards?
I'll
I-
grow one.
Are we
Let's
doing
go.
It's going to be
Clinchmas?
patchy and gross, but I'll
That's
do it.
fine.
Clinchmas, or we shave right after the last game? Is that the deal? Or
What do you guys want to do?
So I haven't shaved in 4 days, and this is what I get. Okay.
Good.
You're going to look great.
I'm thinking I might just go because the mustache, if I
Just
really
let
let
it
it
roll.
go, I might just go just mustache and let it get really fucking greasy.
Hey, just play it day by day.
All right, we'll see.
So
go.
what's the plan here?
when do we start though?
Day
Right
they
now.
clinch. Day they clinch.
Clinchmas?
So tonight, if they clinch against Colorado,
Shave
After
and
the
you're
game,
done.
Take
Shave
a
and you're
picture.
done.
Shave.
You're done.
It's the worst. All right, I'm in.
all right.
Rick
I-
does have the most work to do here.
Yeah, Rick has the most work. I can't even grow anything, so you won't even know the difference. If you're listening to this, however, join us. If Clinchmas happens tonight, Friday,
Yeah.
let's get going on
Yes.
the playoff beards. All
That
right.
was last season, I think.
Just to wrap it up, what's different for you this year for me? 5-on-5 scoring. They're scoring at even strength, and they're doing it consistently under Woodcroft, and that is a massive difference.
And top 5.
And if their power play gets hot, it can single-handedly win them games. And if
You're
you
getting
want
me
to,
excited over here.
and if you want to sit there and do the whole like, man, they don't call penalties in the playoffs. It's not true. Dave Jackson, former NHL official, now a rules analyst with ESPN, pointed this out. Here's the last 5 years of power plays per game in the regular season versus the playoffs. There are more power plays per game in the playoffs every season, except last season when it was off by 0.29%. The perception is not reality.
So that 0.29% was probably the lack of fans yelling bullshit at people,
probably,
right?
or it was just the lack of calls on McDavid single-handedly.
That's just it. There's more infractions. The penalties still get called at the same rate. I think there's just more infractions, or at least appeared infractions.
Rick, I'm starting with you. Question number 2, ask the idiots. Since he has regained his health, Smith has returned to the same form he showed last season, if not a little better. Should the Oilers consider going with a Smith-Skinner economical goalie tandem next year? Only having $3 million tied up in goaltending would open up some other opportunities, maybe for a guy like Kane.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something you're thinking. I don't think that's your plan A. But it's definitely a bit of a safety net. I think they had it this year. They went in there, made the 2 or 3 different options he thought would give him a better tandem. Didn't work out. Went back to what he had last year. And I think you're going to see the same type of thing this year. There's going to be 2 or 3 different options he's going to go at to make the goaltending better. If not, he knows what he has, or he knows what he feels he has in Skinner and Smitty. And I think that's what he does.
Danger Dan, Smitty, Skinner?
I'm still hoping for an outside goalie to come in.
I'd really love a Kemper,
Yeah, I
It's
don't.
got to be it's got to be better, and it's tough to be better than what they're doing right now.
I don't mind the idea of having Skinner as the backup though, because then to me, the next time Smith goes down with his injury is the time for Skinner to shine and take the net from him. So I don't mind that option, but I'm still really hopeful that we just go out and find a goalie that we can bridge right into Skinner's prime instead of hoping.
Tyler?
I think the likely move is that we get 1 year of Smith and Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
If Smith, for whatever reason, can't go, then can I give you my name for who will be the Oilers goalie next season?
Is it Ricard Raquel?
Jeremy Swayman.
He could probably pick it up.
Mhm.
Not down him. Cam Talbot. Marc-Andre Fleury's agent has said Flower wants to come back for a year. I think Minnesota needs to be incredibly economical because they're tight against the
When
cap.
does their cap issues? Is that next year?
Their dead cap space jumps from 4.8 to 12.8 next season. So, they got to save some money. So I could see something where it's a bonus incentive deal with a low cap hit for Fleury, and they're looking to just dump Talbot.
What's Talbot's contract right now?
3.6, 1 more year.
So next season.
Yeah.
So could you get Minnesota to eat $1 million in that trade?
Probably not, because I think they could
I
move
don't think they'd
Talbot
want
without the help. But still, I think Talbot wouldn't cost you a lot. And
Talbot
if
comes
you're
in.
going Smitty on LTIR for whatever reason, this a hypothetical world we're living in.
So Talbot comes in for Cassian.
I like how we always
Cassian
have
goes
it
out.
hurt.
Cassian goes out, and his contract goes to Talbot.
Cassian for a 4th, and then you trade like a 3rd for Talbot. Done. Hire me, Oilers. I work for cheap.
How much you work for?
Whoa! We work as a team. It's a 4-man thing.
Yeah, you gotta hire the crew.
Oilers, the 4 of us work for cheap.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
set a price here.
share an office and everything.
Yeah,
We'll share a salary.
casual. You know what?
Yeah, no
Get all
problem.
4 of us for $1 million.
Call the side
Easy.
hustle.
All 4 of us for $1 million. Easy.
I'm in.
Bargain.
I don't even need a parking stall.
A GM by committee would be a really fascinating thing.
Nothing would get done.
Yeah, it's true.
We just have to vote on everything. And since there's 4 of us, it's always split 2.
Tyler always wants Ricard Raquel in every deal. He makes it a third team deal every time.
We would fit into the red wine group though.
Oh, fuck yes. It's a lifestyle.
Would we?
Buddy.
Why not?
Who's we?
Well, listen,
we
if
all
you
have our
get
own
over
version.
if you get over guzzling it like it's the last fluid on earth, you'll be fine. Just to wrap up the goalie conversation, I'm going to guess it's Smith and Skinner next year. I'm going to guess it because I think, like Rick said earlier, Holland has a tough offseason coming up, and I think he's going to spend every single dollar he can to try and get the forwards done. That's just the way she goes.
And they'll get Kuzmenko, that Russian free agent.
Okay, so what kind of numbers do we take from there that he's doing right now that he would plop in over here?
So,
And he's a right hand, so he's a Hyman. He's a righty playing the left side.
so this is what I wrote at the Nation. Kuzmenko this season had a points per game of 1.18. The year before Artemi Panarin came to the NHL, he was 1.15. The year before Kaprizov came over, he was 1.09.
So we could
Kuzmenko's
have
also 3 to 4.
excited.
He's also 3 to 4 years older than those 2 guys were in their final seasons.
whatever.
So we get like a 73-year-old
You
Calder.
could potentially get a very productive, cheap winger here.
Yeah.
Is that what he plays wing?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Left side. Shoots right.
He's small though, 5'11".
How old
Hey,
is he?
fuck it. Let's roll,
26.
baby.
So he can't.
Yeah, but
win
he's
the
5'11
Calder.
and Russian, though.
And could I interest you if you're bringing him over and you already got the plane going out? There's another guy who had 25 points in 35 games this year. He
Are you
would
going to say Slepyshev?
Slep? Are you bringing him back?
I wouldn't, but I just like the joke.
That's fair.
I like it. All right.
Slep's a good dude.
He was. All right. Question number 3. Ask the Idiots for Buster's Pizza. I'm going to start down with Tyler. And don't worry, I'll give you guys some help on this.
Okay.
If the Oilers got a do-over in the 2003 draft, that is the draft.
Pouliot?
Obviously, they took Marc-Antoine Pouliot. Who is your redo? The question here is who goes 1, 2, 3, so we can walk through all of it. But I would rather say who's the Oilers if you get a redo. So listen, these are some of the names that went after Pouliot. All right. The very, very next pick, number 23, was Ryan Kessler. Then Mike Richards, Anthony Stewart, Brian Boyle, Jeff Tambellini, Corey Perry came in at number 28, Patrick Eaves, Sean Bell rounded out the first round. Then let me look here in the second. Shea Weber went in 49th that year. David Backes went in the second round that year. Patrice Bergeron went 45th overall. Any of those names tickle your fancy as a potential do-over?
So I have to pick someone who went later than Pouliot. That's the rule.
Yeah.
Well, I'm changing the rules. So yeah,
I would go with I'd go with Perry.
Interesting. I'm jumping in Bergeron. Claimed.
Oh, Bergeron. Holy shit, I missed him in the second. Yeah, I'd pick Bergeron. Jesus, it's
I
Bergeron.
claimed him.
Answer's
I claimed
Bergeron.
In the draft, if you pick the wrong team, if you pick the wrong player in the draft, the team behind you gets to pick the player. You don't get Bergeron. You're stuck with Perry.
I'm okay with that.
That's fair. Honestly, I really like Corey Perry. Even going into that World Juniors, I didn't know why he was the 13th forward, but within 12 minutes, he was on the first line.
Dan, any of those names tickle your fancy?
Oh, I got a deep cut from this draft. Taken in the 8th round.
No.
At 245 overall by the Chicago Blackhawks, one Dustin Byfuglien.
Ooh. Oh, you know what? That's a solid pick.
Thank
That's
you.
incredible. What was the other defenseman though? You said Weber?
Yeah, Shea Weber was in
way
there
up
as well.
Yeah, that's
Yaroslav Halak was taken in the 9th round of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we talk about how in the 9th round they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players play over 450 games?
Yeah, that's wild. Can we talk about how there was a 9th round?
yeah, and an 8th round, by the way.
Brian Elliott, David Jones, Yaro Halak, Tanner Glass, and Matt Molson. All
I'm
9th
incredible.
rounders.
Just since I've covered the draft now for the Nation so many times, I'm so happy there's not 9 rounds.
Dude, we're loaded by the time the second round starts anyway. There's only I guess you have to do the
But like on day 2 to write the articles and shit, it's just like by the time the 6th and 7th round comes around, you can't find anything on these kids, let alone an 8th and 9th round.
The Oilers that year had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 total draft picks.
2.
One of them played over 300 games. It was Brodziak. Stortini
Most of them weren't here though.
In Minnesota.
Yeah, Stortini got to 257. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys who didn't play a single game. Matthew Roy was one of the picks. He got mentioned. That's his second time getting mentioned in the last month.
Yeah.
Troy Bodie was their 9th round pick. He played 159 games.
Not with us.
No. Colin McDonald, Mark Pouliot, JF Jacques. A lot of these guys did not work.
JF Jacques, man, that guy's the first line power forward.
First line power forward under old Pat Quinn, Tyler.
I would bring him back to protect McDavid.
Put some respect on his name, you know? Question number 4, Ask the Idiots. Tyler, I'm starting down with you because this one's a little complicated. Do you think the point system should change for overtime? What I mean by this is if a game goes into OT, it is still only a 2-point total game, not worth 3 anymore. So if your team wins an OT, you get 1.5 points and the losing team gets 0.5 points.
No.
That's
it's too much math for me.
What the fuck?
That's just too complicated.
It's way too much math for me.
They tried, and
You either go to
respect that.
straight wins or losses, or you go to 3-2-1. It's the only options.
Rick, are you doing some half pointers here?
Definitely not half pointers.
Dan?
No, yeah, you can't.
But there's no difference between that and 3.1. Just the math would be more complicated.
Things are just
Yeah,
convoluted.
I'm too dumb for this to work for me.
We're not doing half points.
No, I don't have fingers that are half fingers, you know? I need to count.
Yeah, that is just the 3-2-1 system in a more complicated way. So
I would like them to go back to
Just ties.
2 points for a win and 1 point for a tie.
But it wasn't.
So this, I wouldn't mind
Wait, no,
that,
it's
but
not.
I wouldn't mind that. Just 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie. But
3 on
I'm
3
getting rid of the
10
shootout
minutes.
and I'm extending the 3-on-3 to 10 minutes.
I would love to see 3-on-3 endless.
Yes, that's what you have to do.
Still.
You have to do endless 3-on-3.
because
I
that's how
would
you
love
get
it.
coaches to stop overcoaching it, right?
Yep.
And you would get guys that have to go out because
Forcing the depth
just
to
the
play.
matchups would be like, oh shit, they got a 4th line guy out against Connor or something like that.
Damn straight.
And in the shootout, the other team gets to pick who shoots on your team.
And you have to put a player in net instead of your goalie.
I'd do that in a second.
Chris Russell's
And
like,
they're
my
not-
time to shine is now.
And they're not allowed to wear goalie gear. It's like old school street hockey. You get a pillow and an old baseball
Some
glove.
Sears
That's
catalogs.
Yeah.
RIP Sears. Last question, Ask the Idiots. Rick, I'll start with you on this one. By going 11-7, does this open up even a fraction of a possibility that Barry gets a shot on a couple of wing shifts?
No.
Why do people? No, come on, people.
Can we stop putting defensemen as wingers?
Like I'm done with that. That's the worst thing ever.
The last one you could do was Bufflin. Like that
Brett
dude.
Burns.
Mark Pissick. But again, it's not, everyone loves to be like, oh, take a skilled defenseman, just put him on the wing. But the only time it ever happens, Rick's dead.
Yeah, Rick's dead.
RIP. You need some water, big man?
Are you sharing your water?
This is a huge moment.
This is a very nice moment here.
Got your back.
Look how red his head is.
Yeah, you.
Bro,
Got
it's
your
okay.
back.
Well, I was gonna have
If
fun clipping
anyone
this part.
ever brings up D-men playing forward again, it'll be worse than this.
I got excited.
I think Rick's answer is no.
Yeah.
Barry does not play on the wing.
No. No.
You broke Rick with the
We
question.
broke Rick.
I got excited earlier.
So that is a
Playoff
question.
time.
Mitch, you broke Rick. I hope you're satisfied
one,
with
Mitch.
yourself. Way to go, Mitch. All right, there you go. We got to do a little voting on who gets a GC here, gentlemen. So number 1, Kool-Aid. Why is this different? No Kool-Aid. Number 2, are you going with the cheap goaltending duo? Number 3, redraft in 2003. Number 4 is the point system. Number 5 is Barry as a winger.
Cheap goaltending.
Redraft.
Goaltending.
Goaltending gets the win. Goaltending gets the win. I will abstain from voting. So that is Ed. Big Ed. Shout out to you. You get a gift card from our friends at Buster's Pizza. I'll reach out to you post podcast. Good. As Tyler's making his way over to the board so that we can get hot and cold performers. Tonight could be Clinchmas for the Oilers. Big game against the Carolina. Fucking hell. 3rd time's a charm. The Colorado Avalanche. Oilers have played the Avalanche really well this year. They just haven't been able to close out a win. What are you expecting tonight, Tyler? Do you think the boys got a little extra juice because it's Clinchmas potentially?
Friday night Clinchmas where you don't play Saturday.
That's what I want to see. I want to see them come out and just take a game to end a series.
I'd love it.
I want them all feeling the way Rick does right now tomorrow morning when they celebrate this.
They'll be fine.
I want to see the Oilers handle their own business as opposed to somebody else losing or whatever, and then they get clinched. I just like to see them do it, like the Flames as an example. The Oilers had to win to send the Flames to the playoffs.
We know how they can play against Colorado. They proved that already.
100%.
I want to see them come out and just finish it when they have an opportunity to finish it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like if you remember last time, the 2-1 shootout loss, they got goalied by Darcy Kemper. That's why they lost.
Or was it Puljujärvi not being able to finish? Oh, geez, Rick's dying again.
Which
that was a joke, by the way. That was a joke.
Send your hate mail to Tyler@Oilersnation.com.
Just kidding, everybody.
I'll bring up his new address over here on his computer.
Dan, what are you thinking for the Clinchmas tonight?
Do I think it's going to happen tonight?
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know.
Dan.
I just don't see the Avalanche as being a team that is going to lose.
Twice we've taken them overtime. We've taken them overtime.
Didn't they just lose their last game though?
No,
I thought they just got beat.
We went to
the
extras.
Avalanche. I mean, the Avalanche.
Oh, I don't know, but we've taken the Avalanche to extras the last 2 times. We do that today. We're done. We're in.
Yeah, they lost. The Avalanche lost to the Kraken.
And that game was really bad. I was actually watching that game, and the Kraken scored like 2 goals in like 5 minutes.
That was the night that Eberle scored that fucking snipe.
Snipe.
That was a hell of a shot.
Our boy can still fire it.
So yeah, I just think Colorado's coming out firing tonight, and it is what it is. But Ben's going to be in the building, so the vibes are going to be good no matter what.
Well, hey, our boy is 7-0 when he's in the building. So if there's a night for Clinchmas, it is when Ben is in the house. I'm going to say a 4-2 win. I'm just going to come out and say it, Tyler.
Perfect.
He's sold.
Tyler, get your buttons ready. It is time for the hot and cold performers of the week.
The week.
Oh, I didn't realize we don't have a sponsor for hot and cold performers anymore. Nope. Just clean. Brought to you by Bag Milk.
Someone please sponsor us.
Yes, if you would like to sponsor the hot and cold performers, reach out to us.
We have to do the podcast with no lights on now. It's terrible.
Yeah, we're stuck in the arena. We can't leave.
Turn off the lights, so it looks like we're doing it without the lights on.
All right. Time for the hot and cold performers of the week.
Just for this segment that we gotta have the lights on.
Brought to you by Bag Milk. So, Dan, we're going to start off with our veggies as we always do. Who is your Bag Milk cold performer of the week?
My Bag Milk
Thank you.
cold performer of the week is going to, I lost it just by listening to that. It's going to go to, where did it go?
Right there.
Oh yeah. I feel like bad piling on a team that's smaller and they're just trying to do good work, but it's the AGHL's Grand Prairie Storm who hired Bill Peters this week, who is a guy that I just don't think needs to be behind a bench anymore. And so the Grand Prairie Storm, you're getting my cold performer of the week.
That's why they're never going to contend in that league.
Ooh.
What?
That was a hot take from an AJHL guy too.
That was better than any button, Tyler. Thank you. That was good.
Rick, your Bag Milk cold performer of the week.
Honestly, has to go to the seating prices, the breakdown, everything about this new Coyotes arena. I get it. It should be cool, in a small, ridiculously small venue. But how are the prices that hard?
They're like Oilers prices.
They are. Like no one's going. Like I have never been, but I'm pretty sure it was like 4 tickets for $80. You got 13 hot dogs, 4 pops, 4 beers, and you got to like rent a Lamborghini for a day. Like that's exactly what was in a ticket price before. Now it's $350 to sit along the glass. Like who was going to pay for these that wasn't paying for it before?
Before that price, one of the players picks you up on the way to the game.
Yeah.
Like, taken to and
So I went, now keep in mind, this is 10 years ago. I went to a game in Glendale, and I'll never forget it because my brother-in-law and I were down there for Monday Night Football because it was a Cardinals game. And then we just had a day to kill. So we're like, oh, the Coyotes play. Let's go play, or let's go watch it. Walked up to the ticket booth.
They actually let you play.
Yeah. They're like, hey, you're Canadian? I was like, yeah.
You paid for the $69 ticket. You're in.
So we went up to the booth and we were like, okay, we've got $50 US each. What kind of tickets can we get? And they're like, you're fucking on the bench, basically. So we were sitting about 10 rows up, dead center. It was great. But then I remembered all clear as day looking around the arena. I'm like, man, this is a nice arena they got here. And then I see a banner in the corner. It was $100, 4 tickets, upper bowl, 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, 4 popcorns, 100 bones.
And you probably got a banner with your name on it too.
100%. Free jersey as well.
Yeah.
So
I made that last part up.
You're as cold as ice.
I find it interesting though. Now I'm looking at these ticket prices. So glass seats row, 350 bones.
What's behind the other end? What's behind the other goalie?
Goalie line, 115.
No, what is behind one of the goaltenders though? There's a set of seating there.
It's bleachers.
It's universities.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, so it's just students.
I believe that's the
Mayhem
plan.
section.
Just general admission.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Trying to make some noise.
All right. Tyler is rushing.
Pushing us.
All right. Where was I at? Oh,
Me.
Tyler, your Bag Milk cold performer of the week.
No button for this one, but the passing of Guy Lafleur. And there are great stories everywhere about Guy Lafleur. Obviously, not just a legend, but an icon. So I want to share this line from Matt Larkin's piece, who said, there are superstars and then there are folk heroes, athletes who ascend to mythic status. And that was Guy Lafleur.
100%. My Bag Milk cold performer of the week is Tyler for rushing me.
Fair.
And I deserve that.
Boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Flipping the ledger, let's end off on some positive notes. Tyler, I'm going to kick us off with the hot performer of the week. I'm going to say our boy Ben Stelter is 7-0 when he is in the building. I love the kid. I love his spirit. I love his energy. And Ben Stelter, you got my hot performer of the week.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Rick, your Bag Milk hot performer of the week.
I like it because I think the haters are pushing him a lot right now. It's going to Mike Smith. I love the way he's showing up everybody. He's doing it for the old boys. Just because you're over 40 doesn't mean you can't be an NHL player. I still have an opportunity. Let's go, Mike Smith.
Pour it on!
I love it.
Nation Dan, your hot performer of the week.
My Bagged Milk hot performer of the week is going to go to Nation Vacations in general. The fact that we just went on one has really fueled some fires, and keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully we'll have something more coming in the future here, at least in the summer.
Imagine.
So all this travel, getting me excited. Nation Vacation, you're my Bagged Milk hot performer of the week.
Tyler Yamchuk, your Bag Milk hot performer of the week.
Giving it to our boy Matt Chapman, who keeps coming through with that Matt Chapman over half a base bet Bag Milk. He's putting money in our pockets. Love
This
it.
is why I'm hot. I'm hot because I'm fly. You ain't because you not.
There you go. Oilers Nation Radio episode 190 with 3 minutes to spare. Tyler,
He was
hope you feel
worried.
better. Look at him. Look at the panic on his face.
I bet you Jay's not even out there yet.
There's no way Jay's out there yet. Oh, we don't even sync it to the roadcaster anymore.
Didn't work.
All right. So
Never
for
does.
Dan, Rick, and Tyler, it's Bag Milk. I want to say thank you to DoorDash, Oodle Noodle, Cornerstone Insurance, and Buster's Pizza for making us all possible. And most importantly, all of you for listening. Big game for the Oilers. It's Clinchmas. Here's Rick's dying. Oh, I thought Rick was dying again.
Call.
Rick's taking a phone call mid-podcast, so we got to wrap it up. That's Oilers Nation Radio episode 190 in the books.
Shout out, Ben.
Thanks for listening to Oilers Nation Radio, delivered by DoorDash. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram.